Good morning. This short video today, we are going to talk about esters. When you study esters, there are key points that I want you to remember. First of all, where do they come from? And how is the reaction happening? And what is the type of reaction? And how do we name the esters? And how we draw esters? So esters are sweet smelling organic compounds, or they have a fruity smell. And esters, they are produced from the reaction of alcohol and carboxylic acid. The type of reaction between the alcohol and the carboxylic acid is called a condensation reaction because it involves the removal of water. In organic chemistry, when two compounds react together and water is removed, we call it a condensation reaction. So the reaction between the alcohol and the carboxylic acid involves the removal of water. So if he asks you in paper 4, which molecule, I'll name the molecule removed in this reaction, it's water. Now, the conditions for the reaction, in order for water to be removed, we need a dehydrating agent, which is the concentrated sulfuric acid. It catalyzes the reaction and it's a dehydrating agent. And we have to heat in a reflux. I would strongly recommend that you pause the video and you copy this on a piece of paper so you will have the points in front of you and you can study it after we're done, inshallah. So that's basically the introduction to esters. Now, let's look at the reaction. Let's say I have methanol. That's my alcohol, and it will react with ethanoic acid. What will be the ester produced? First of all, you should be able to draw the ester produced. How do we draw the ester? Let's draw the components used here. You can all draw ethanoic acid. So here eth means 2 carbons, and that's the functional group. Get a piece of paper and draw with me step by step. So that's ethanoic acid. And I'm going to draw right next to it the methanol. Meth means 1 carbon. There you go. The idea is I want you to put the functional groups in front of each other. So the OH of the alcohol in front of the COOH of the acid. In the previous slide, we said that the reaction happens by the removal of water. So here is the water, H and OH. We will remove the H and OH. In the exam, you can easily, you draw in pencil, of course, you are going to erase the water. Now, after we erase the water, we are going to connect the carbon with the oxygen, and this is my ester. It is very simple. So you just remove H and OH from the functional groups, and you've got the ester produced. Let's take another example. Let's say we have the reaction between ethanol and propanoic acid. I like to draw the acid first, but it's up to you. It doesn't make a difference at all. So prop means 3, 1, 2, 3. Anoic, this is the functional group of the acid. And of course, these are the H's. And I will draw in front of it the ethanol, putting the functional groups in front of each other. Now, in order for the two to react, we are going to remove the water. So H and OH. And then I'm just going to copy the new compound. Adi 1, 2, 3, double bond O. These are removed, خلاص. O, and then the 2 carbons. And you've got your ester produced. Of course, plus water, because water is removed. It's a product of this reaction. حلو كده? Let's move on to naming the esters. How do we name the ester? We name the ester simply, the rule is, I'm going to take the name of the alcohol. هنا ما فيهاش اختيار. The alcohol comes first. The alcohol comes first, and we put "-il" at the end of the name of the alcohol. And then the acid, and it ends with "-08". So we have the name of the alcohol comes first. Let's take an example. If the alcohol is methanol and the acid is propanoic, how do we name the ester produced? أهو الالكحول أهو methyl. يبقى اسم الester comes from the name of the parents, the alcohol and the acid. And the acid is propanoic, it's going to be propanoate. And so we have it. This is the name of the ester, methyl propanoate. So the ester, هنا I'm not going to count how many carbons ولا أي حاجة. I'm going to name it from the name of the alcohol and the acid from which it's made. So let's take one quick example again. If I have propanol and ethanoic acid, let's complete this equation. Of course, هيطلع water. ده أكيد. What is the ester? This is the alcohol أهو. Prop. And I will put at the end "-il", يبقى propyl, and then ethanoate. That's my ester. Now, let's see if I draw an ester and I ask you to name it. That's another kind of question. This is a given ester, and he asks you to name this ester. How will you name it? To name the ester, I need the name of the parents. يبقى I'm gonna get the name of the parents الأول. How? You're going to look in your drawing for the COO and then break after it. حط خط كده بعد COO اكسر. The half with the COO, this is the acid parent. So let's look at this acid. How many carbons? 2. يبقى this acid is ethanoic. And the second half, which doesn't contain oxygens, is the alcohol. معمول من carbon واحد يبقى methanol. And you can do that in the exam. Now, I have the name of the alcohol and the acid. هاخد اسم الالكحول methyl. And the name of the acid ethanoate. Okay? Let's take another example. I'm going to draw it the other way around. Now, let's look here. I want the name of this ester. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to look for the COO and break. This is the acid. اللي فيه COO is the acid. 1 carbon, so it's methanoic. And we have here 4 carbons, butanol. So now I have the name of the alcohol, butyl methanoate. And that's how we name an ester if you have the drawing of the ester. طيب what if كتبوا كده؟ Again, the exact same thing. I'm gonna look for the COO أهي وأكسر بعدها. Again, الناحية اللي فيها COO is the acid. These are 3 carbons. يبقى propanoic. And 2 carbons ethanol. And we name it ethyl propanoate. So we have here ethyl, ethanol, ethyl propanoate. Okay? The last thing is heating in a reflux. When we prepare an ester, we put the alcohol and the acid in a flask. Of course, my drawing is not very good. So we have here the acid and the alcohol, and we add concentrated sulfuric acid. It's the catalyst of the reaction and the dehydrating agent, and we start heating. Now, alcohols and acids are volatile liquids. They evaporate very easily, so they will escape the flask. We don't want that. So we want them to remain in the flask. Why don't we close it? If we close the flask and heat for a while, the pressure will build up inside the flask. And also we don't want that. So what is the solution to this problem? If this is my flask and I'm heating right here, I will attach to the flask a condenser. But the condenser is going to be attached in an upright position. So any vapor that will escape, it's going to condense and fall back into my flask. Connecting the condenser like this in an upright position means that I'm heating in a reflux. Reflux means ارتجاع. So the liquid, so the vapor escapes ويرجع تاني جوه الفlask. So if he asks you what is heating in a reflux means, and this question came before in paper 4, it means attaching the condenser in an upright position. And this is one of the important conditions in preparing esters in the lab. So to recap بسرعة كده, esters, sweet smelling liquids, they are formed from alcohol and carboxylic acid. The type of reaction is condensation, which means the removal of water. We have to add concentrated, and you must say concentrated, sulfuric acid and heat in a reflux. And the word reflux means attaching the condenser in an upright position. We name the esters by putting the alcohol first and ending it in "-ile", and then the acid and ending it in "-oate". I hope this is helpful, and good luck. Thank you very much.